I'm your host, Andrea, UFV/FEI alum, and today we have with us the Manager of Student Life and Industry Engagement here at Fraser Valley India, Ms. Saniya Kamra. Welcome, Saniya.
Thank you, Andrea. Hello, everyone. I am Saniya. I've been working here for the past 10 years, almost a decade. It's been a beautiful journey. Just to give a little bit background about myself, I'm a people's person. I am confident, hardworking, very dedicated, and consider Fraser Valley India as my second home. So yeah, good to be connected here today.
Why don't you start off by telling us how you feel like life brought you into this position that you're in? Because as you mentioned, you've been working with FVI for nearly a decade now. So how do you feel like you ended up here?
I started working right after my graduation. I knew that Fraser Valley India existed because one of my mentors at that time was teaching here as a visiting faculty. And I had different plans at that time, and I was working with other organizations. But when it was time to leave them, I heard that there was a very basic position here, and I thought that it's a good opportunity for me to get into the Canadian education system. So I grabbed it. I joined here as an intern back in the year 2014. And then I started working closely with the faculties. We had a faculty chair that time. And I think just over a few months would have passed, I realized that, okay, this is not my thing. I really want to be more closely associated with students because I think that is what used to make me happy back then too. And then over a period of 1.5 years and so, I gradually moved to student life and industry engagement. And since then, there's no looking back because all the time I've been working with the students, for the students, along with the students. So yeah, it has been very nice. But yes, Fraser Valley was a blessing in disguise, I would say. So I'm very glad that I took an opportunity, and from here, I think I've grown here professionally and personally both.
For those viewers and listeners that maybe don't know what Student Life and Industry Engagement does as a department, can you explain a little bit about the background?
This department totally evolves around the life of a student outside of their class. So, the students are meant to, build their profile, even if they're in India or even if they're taking a transfer to our Canadian campus in Abbotsford. They need to be Canada ready. They need to have something on the paper to show that, okay, this is what we achieved as students. And when we say what did they achieve, we are not only talking about their academic achievements, we also talk about the non-academic achievements. So that includes building their portfolio by participating in various co-curriculars, having some experience in the experiential learning programs we have, undertaking a few workshops and skill workshops so that they can gain a few areas of expertise. So all of that stuff. And as far as the industry engagement sector is concerned, just because we have a Canadian applied education system, what the students are learning inside the classroom, they need to get a practical exposure of it. So we make sure that while the student is learning, he or she is also undergoing a few real-time exposure from the industry, maybe by listening to somebody from the industry who's an expert, or hearing an entrepreneurial story, or getting to work with someone and getting some job shadowing done, or working as an intern, or whatever. There's so many things to it. So we make sure that a student is exposed to the industry fully, irrespective of the semester he or she is in.
Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution of the department? I mean, I studied here at Fraser Valley India nearly 9 years ago, I think. Yeah. And student life as a department was totally different. It's changed dramatically over the years. So what can you tell us about that evolution?
So, when I joined in here in 2014 December, I still remember there were just 2 student clubs, to name them. One was the Toastmasters Club, and the other was the Little Giants Sports Club. So
I remember that,
yes,
actually.
So these 2 clubs were formed by the students back then also. But over the years, we thought that students have more skills, more area of expertise, and we should be having more of these clubs, and we should give more students an opportunity to lead the club. And I think that was the turning point in the past, I would say, all these 9 years. From 2 clubs, we have grown to almost 18 clubs. And they all have been pretty active. They are covering all the aspects of skills as well as related to various fields. It could be arts, sports, dance, debate, entrepreneurship, coding, robotics, serving the society. We have serving humanity club. So I think over the years we grew a lot in the clubs section as well. Alongside that, back in 2014 we just had one key project, that was the student company program. But over the years now we have almost 6 experiential key projects that are dedicated to students from all the undergraduate pathway programs. So I think we've evolved a lot. We are having dedicated program for CIS student and at the same time for a liberal arts student, alongside benefiting the BBA students with all these projects.
What more can you tell me about the student-led initiatives like the extracurricular clubs?
No, I have a lot of examples for that, Andrea, to be honest. And these examples are pretty recent in the past 2 years. I mean, initially we used to have students, coming up to us, they have a plan, they want to start a club, and we've always given a green signal. They just need to fulfill an internal criteria, have say 10 to 15 signatures of the students who are interested, and then we start the club. They have a plan. But in the past 2 years, I have seen that the clubs that started, almost 8-9 years back, they transformed. The way technology has transformed over the years, similarly our clubs also transformed. There are new things that have been introduced in the club. Now, for example, back then when we started the Serving Humanity Club in 2015, it was more of, serving the society by going into the slum area. And we used to do donation drives back then, if you remember, you were part of it. Yeah. Now, just to give you an example, Serving Humanity is one of our top club where Soumya Gilani, who's the current president, she's a second year CI student. She has taken the club to another level. She has done n number of donation drives. She's done donation drives financially. She has collected clothes. She has collected stationery. And, just to top it all, recently she did a sanitary pad donation drive. I mean, to be honest, this was my first time experience also. And the good part was that we had students, staff and faculty supporting this initiative. And it actually motivated her that we should be doing more of this thing. Not only that, she stepped out, she did a cleanup drive outside, in the society. She made sure that we, about 50 to 60 students accompanied her. They picked up garbage, they wore gloves, had those black bin bags with them. And it was a very good thing that they did for the society, for the nature. So, I mean, this is just one of the examples to tell you that how we have taken just one club from on campus to off campus and making sure that there are more initiatives in it.
I know that the FEI students, as you mentioned, Soumya, for example, the president of the Serving Humanity Club, they've really made an impact, not only on FEI, of course, but on the surrounding community. Yes. How does the Student Life Department facilitate some of these things or support the students in these endeavors?
The department totally involves and evolves around the students. So whenever somebody comes to us, any student come to us with whatever request, we make sure that we're making a note of it. But we ask them that why do they want to do it? What is their vision? How do they see that, how it's going to benefit them, how they're going to implement them? And if we see that, okay, there is some success attached to it, even if it is just 10%, we support. Mm-hmm. So, of course, there is some support needed financially, or there is some support needed by taking a few permissions, maybe off campus from people or on campus. So we do that for the students so that they don't need to look back. They know that we are there to support their initiatives, and I think that's what we've been doing.
What about for those students who are maybe a little bit hesitant to get involved from the beginning? What strategies do you guys have to make sure that all of the students are really interacting and trying to put out their fullest potential, even extracurricularly?
There are a lot of students who are, introvert, and they fear that, what if they come on stage, or what if they're asked to lead? So there's a lot of apprehension, and they're very nervous at the same time. So what we do is, like, we offer such kind of activities or volunteer work where we know that even though they'll be participating, but they'll be coming out of their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Just to share an example, we do this annual award ceremony every year. We come up with a volunteer opportunity. We ask students to register as volunteers, and we try giving opportunity to those students who haven't contributed in maybe clubs or key projects because of their CGPA or because of their non-interest in that particular project. So these volunteer activities kind of give them a work experience, exposure, and they become confident. I think that is, the start of their journey where they are taking a step, and we're supporting them. Alongside that, we have a lot of students who are excelling in their own fields. I mean, I have top 10 students listed on my fingers, but what we do is we make them as ambassadors. We tell them, go to people, talk to them, motivate these students who are nervous, and ask them to participate, because this is the time. Once they graduate or once they are in Canada, they'll have to look on all those aspects that they are not looking, here. For example, taking care of their housing, clothing, food, groceries. They all need to start doing it the moment they land in Canada. Here is the time where they can build their profile. So I think by just seeing the seniors performing well and, we offering them a good platform, I think, yeah, that is it where they kind of step forward.
I'd just like to digress for a moment because you mentioned the annual award ceremony. What can you tell me about that? Because that's an event that I think the faculty, the staff, the students, everybody really looks forward to every year. And I think it's kind of the perfect crossover between student life and academics. So what can you tell me about that event?
The annual awards ceremony is the biggest event of the year. I'm sure you all would have heard about Oscars and Filmfare, and I think that's what we do here at FVI. So, it's basically that we want to felicitate and recognize our students for their academic as well as non-academic achievements. In academic achievements, we have students being recognized for their Dean's List, for various categories in scholarship. Similarly, for non-academic, we make sure that our students are recognized for their hard work and efforts they have put in all the key projects. For example, student company program that is meant for all the pathway programs. We have a tech gear program for the CIS students, and we have another program, Self Quest to Serve program, which is for the liberal arts student. So we make sure that, all these students are recognized in front of their parents. It's a proud feeling for parents to see their, child being recognized on stage by someone who's here from UFE Canada to felicitate them. So it's a huge, grand event with, a lot of preparation that goes in the back end. And also, it's a proud moment for the student and for the parent and for the staff and faculty who've put in so much, so much of their efforts in making sure that we have a few student success stories.
I'd like to go back to the topic of student engagement. You mentioned that when students come to you with an initiative that they'd like to start, be it a club or something else that they'd like your support with, you often ask them what their vision is. So I'd like to reverse roles now and ask you, what's your why? I mean, why do you do what you do, and why do you think that this is important for the students to get involved in extracurricular ways?
Yeah, I think I was meant for this. And it's not that I take it as a job and I'm doing it forcefully because I'm being paid for it. No, that's not the reason. I think, I love doing what I'm doing, every single day. I think you've also seen the office is always full of students. And not even a day goes where I'm not mentoring them or I'm not answering them their personal and professional queries. And I think that is the highlight, and that is what attracts me to come to office every day, because when I see all of them, I think I can make a difference. And even if you just help one student a day, I think it's more than enough. You're done for the day, because these students need that helping hand professionally. And it's not that I'm an expert and I'm the only one. No, it's not that. There are many more people in the industry and they have been doing that part very well. But I think that I have been so inclined towards this particular job role. I have seen that students have been benefited. And I have learned and grown a lot with time. Every year there's a new cohort, there's a new mindset, new approach, new students, different level of thinking. And accordingly, I think I've tuned myself and helped them and actually come on the level where they'll understand those things better. So I think when I come to their level and they find a friend in me, I think they get comfortable and they get answered whatever they're looking for.
Aside from the obvious academic and career related benefits that students can find from engaging with student life, How do you think it can help them on a personal level?
I have studied from an Indian education system. I have studied from Chandigarh. In my graduation days, I think the only exposure we had was inside the class, where a professor used to come, teach us for a particular subject, and leave. There were no assignments, there were no group projects, there were no industry related initiatives that we had to do academically. So, one point that. Second, there were no co curricular activities or experiential learning where I thought I could put in my energy outside of the classroom. Never got an opportunity that way. So, I think the environment that we have for students here is very different. Of course, we are a Canadian adapted university. We are doing whatever happens in Canada, and the curriculum, whether it's course outlines, whether it's kind of assignments or work case studies, whatever we're doing, I think we are offering students an exposure right from day one of their admission here. They start with a foundation program. They get an exposure of, oh, this is how Canada's curriculum is, or what is plagiarism, or what is skill development, or how they need to write an email. This is not taught at a ground level. And here we are making sure that the student is undergoing academic as well as non-academic training very well from the experts from the industry. So I think all in all, when both these things are so strong here, it automatically builds the profile for student. I mean, if even if the student is not participating outside of the class, he or she is participating inside the class, 60% of their grade, I would say, goes into making assignments, leading a group, presenting. I think that itself gives a lot of exposure and confidence to student to represent him or herself in front of the class, which is very good.
Can you share with us any success stories or major achievements of students that have participated in industry engagement initiatives?
I have a lot of stories and a lot of people and alumni actually who've gone through us and who are doing pretty well at the moment. One of my favorite stories is about, the student named Mehak Noor. She's been doing exceptionally well. So I would say that, she was part of student company program back in the year 2016-17. Exceptional performer, academically topper, scholarship holder. But in the company program, I think, she really came out of her shell and she performed very well in whatever tasks she was allocated. She was serving as the company secretary. And I think that was a turning point for her where she, got to know her strengths. And I think there was no looking back for her. She took it as a platform, as an opportunity, as a challenge. And she took it long way with her to Canada. She made sure that she was sharing this experience with the people there. And, even if she was applying for jobs, back in the mind, whatever experience she gained in India, academically and in this program, she took it with her and she shared with people who were interviewing her. And she shared in one of her stories that when she was being interviewed, she was asked about her experience, which was almost 3 years old when she was being interviewed after being graduate. And this particular program got her into that job. So I think that is a real testimonial we have from her, which states that students are benefited from us academically and non-academically, provided they are showing keen interest in both. So I think it goes totally hand in hand. We are laying a lot of opportunities for the students on the table. It is the students who need to grab those opportunities.
You mentioned the student company program. What more can you tell me about that?
I would say it's the flagship and the most favorite program of mine. Why? Because I myself was part of it when I was a student back in the school days. So I think why I'm closely associated to this, because I know that what that particular program taught me, I'm able to teach that to the students, now. This program is basically that we select a few bunch of students. They undergo a rigorous interview process, a selection process, resume building and all that stuff. And after they are selected, we do an induction and we ask them to come up with a product or a service idea that they want to sell in the real world, in the real target market. Once that is done, we set up a hierarchy, a proper organizational structure is made. We have various departments, right from the HR, accounts, finance to sales, marketing, digital marketing, website development, production, and whatnot. And they are led by chief executive officer and those, other operational heads. After that, they are asked to write a business plan. So again, we have this academic factor where they know that whatever they're going to do practically, they have to, frame it into a document and say that, okay, this is the book that they're going to follow for the rest of the time. And that document, is like a thesis for them, and they know that they've taken an oath. Now they need to, work so hard that, they are able to achieve that by the end. And we help them, and we, help them in all the kind of vendors they need and whatever product they select. After that, we ask them to launch the company on the campus. It's again a big day for the students to launch their company, and then they start selling that particular product in the target market. And whatever share capital is raised, we also raise share capital from the shareholders from on campus, off campus. They have to give back that money. So I think that is the pressure tool for them, that they know that whatever money they have taken from the public, they need to give it back. Because they have that in mind, they have to complete their sales, they have to do their targets, irrespective of their other commitments. So while they do it, they also go through a lot of team building activities. They learn about how to maintain accounts, what are HR policies, what are the 4 Ps of marketing, or where exactly is their sales target market if not in the city, or how to record the inventory. So I think how a proper corporate manufacturing industry works, this is what this program is. And they're very tight with the timeline because they have to liquidate the company by the end of the next year before they take a transfer to fall. So they know that they just have 1 year to prove themselves, and 1 year is a very short time to have a successful company. But touch wood, all the companies have been very successful. We are right now on our 10th company program. Let's see what these guys do. But all the 9 companies, they have successfully liquidated with profits, so, because they knew that they have to give back to the public. I mean, initially when we started, the first company was named Jubrick, and, they had the products like jute files, jute bags.
I remember that.
Yeah, and, I still remember, I had just recently joined FEI, and what I heard was that they were acquiring all these raw materials from Calcutta.
Okay.
So the jute and everything used to come from there, and then the next company.
I think they also provided opportunities for impoverished women
Yes,
to produce
yes, because to be honest, that time there were only boys in that company. We didn't see any girls participating. So I think there were about 10 or 12 boys who were running the company, and they didn't have their hands on sewing and, making all of that. So they employed these women from an NGO, and they were doing all the stitching for them. So they were just selling it in the market. Similarly was the second and the third company, where we were procuring like the finished products and we were selling it in the market. But we realized that, there's less learning for the students because they're not manufacturing it on the campus. So we thought to revamp. And then we started with a company called Organise, where what they did was they just got the paper cut from the outside, but they were making notebooks on their own. They were hard binding it, they were spiral binding it, and they were working on organizers. So there we realized that the students have a lot of potential. We just need to give them a little push. And after that, another company made handmade soaps, someone made a decor product, someone made candles. The last company, they made lamps, they made rugs, hand-tufted rugs. So I think every year we've just risen the bar. And this year we have, a range of 4 products. We have these desk organizers in 2 shapes. We have a wooden vase, and we also have a tissue box that these guys are, making. So I think every year we're just trying to take the level of the company, the level of the products on another level, so that they know how a manufacturing unit also functions, or how a carpenter needs to be approached, or what are the risks they need to take while manufacturing.
Something that I found interesting about the student company program and the way that the hiring process works is that the students often apply for a certain position. Yes. They're rejected from that position and placed into a different role within the company. How do you feel like that's actually helped a lot of the students that have found themselves in that situation?
This boy, very high-headed, a lot of attitude and overconfident that it's just me and me on the campus. I will get a senior level position. I'm full of this, and no doubt, very good communication skills, very intelligent. But, because he possessed this attitude that I was like, no, this cannot work here. So we gave him the lowest position in the company. First week, he was very depressed that why did this happen? How dare, student life could do that to me? But I think after a week, I don't know what went to him, he took it as a challenge, and I think within a month, he proved himself, and by the end of the company, he was promoted, and he made his presence so much so that now he's part of the board of directors of this company. So I think, the reason why we do that to these students is that we need to tell them that it's not always in your comfort zone. You need to, go into the dig and come out as a star. Literally. I mean, you always do not get what you want. I think that's how the destiny also works. So I think we give that exposure to the students right here that, okay, you apply, but we don't assure you that. I think that's what happens in the real world as well. I mean, I'll apply for a job, for a position, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get that particular package, right? So yeah, this is what we do. We give them real-time exposure even in this particular segment.
What do you think some of the key takeaways have been for students that have participated?
Leadership, teamwork, risk management, vendor management, and basically an exposure to the real corporate world. Because, when we graduated, or somebody else whom I know, I mean, we just graduated as a student. Okay, this is what we studied, period. But these students, they get so much learning and exposure in this program that it's basically that they're graduating and they're finishing a particular job alongside their studies. So they're taking this experience with them, which acts as a work experience, and they get placed in Canada or any part of the world because of this program. So it's a very strong pillar, I would say, in their life. If they're part of this program, it's going to help them get jobs very easily because they already know how to talk to a colleague or how to maintain records or what are the risks in the business. So they already know about it theoretically as well as practically.
I'm curious to know what are some other ways that FEI collaborates with local industries to provide opportunities for experiential learning for its students?
I think there are two aspects to it. Number one is that whatever courses our faculties are teaching, if there's any particular requirement from those faculties in terms of, say for example, they are teaching something in terms of retail management. So they have a requirement where they want their students to, visit a particular industry to see how a retail industry functions, or somebody, an expert from the industry, to come and deliver a talk. So we invite that particular speaker who's in this particular field, and he or she delivers this talk to our students just to tell them that this is how the real world functions. So one aspect is that it is attached to their course academically. In non-academic things, I would say that we help students get placed in summer for summer internship. So we have we are approached by many companies in the summer, and we help students get placed based upon whatever profiles they're interested in. Could be accounts, finance, HR, marketing, sales. So they get a job shadow under somebody and work for about at least 6 weeks and learn the real work from the industry people.
Can you elaborate on any partnerships or collaborations between FEI and particular companies or industries that have been beneficial for students academically or career-wise?
Yes, so I would say about 2-3 years back, me and Tushar, we were invited to attend one of the guest sessions happening in the city, and we got an exposure to this community called TIE. So TIE is a global organization that has various chapters, not only in India, but globally. And they have a TIE Japan chapter, TIE Tokyo, TIE Malaysia, TIE North America, and various other chapters. Similarly, there was a chapter in Chandigarh, the TIE Chandigarh chapter, which we got aware of. And we met with the people, the management of TIE Chandigarh, and we got to learn that there were a few universities in the city who had already collaborated with them, where not only the employees were being benefited, but their students were getting a lot of opportunities to be part of TIE. So I think that was a green signal for us, and we wanted to do something for our university as well, for our students. And we collaborated with them. We signed an MOU with them, and we made sure that our students are also exposed to TIE, because TIE comes up with a huge network with industry experts, with founders, entrepreneurs, with, I don't know, fundings in crores. So a huge network, not only in India but globally. So since then, our students have got an opportunity to volunteer, in their grand event, which happens once in a year. They have picked up our students in summer internship programs. They have picked our students for various projects that they run. So, and few of those mentors and people who are part of TIE, they have come to a university. They have been part of company program as an investor. They have run a startup pitch here. And not only that, our students also got an exposure to participate in a global pitch competition almost a year and a half back. And our team was fourth in entire India. And I think that was a big exposure for our students. And this year again, yes, and this year again, our team has been selected for the global pitch competition. Only one team has been selected. So they're busy preparing the pitch as of now, and I think in April they would be pitching in front of the jury. So I think the students have benefited a lot because they get to network, meet, get mentored, have some shadowing done from real time people. And I think TIE has given that one kind of exposure that the undergraduate students need.
What are some examples of projects or internships that the students have been involved with at TIE?
TIE, so there is one grand event that happens every year in Chandigarh that's called TIECon. So, 2 years back when we got the invite, they also asked us if we could have some student volunteers from a university. So we said, what kind of roles would our students be doing? So they said that we need students for hospitality, for logistics, for vendor management, for setup, and all that stuff. And our students are always gunning for such kind of opportunities off campus. So we sent about 10 students, and they still tell me that it was a very big platform to work for them and get to mentored by people who were organizing that grand event. They also got an opportunity to meet the guest of honor 2 years back, who was Mr. Ashneer Grover. He's one of the Shark Tank India founders, and he has a funding, I don't know in how many crores. So I think when they just meet these celebrity faces, off campus, they feel very confident that okay, FVI is giving them an opportunity to participate and meet with the real-time industry network.
I'd like to shift gears a little bit and talk a bit about our extensive alumni network. What are some of our alumni doing, and how are they helping current students in their career journeys?
We have a lot of success stories about our alumni. They are, part of various places in the world, but yes, majority are in Canada at the moment. And they're doing exceptionally well in their own fields. Just to tell you a few brands that they're working with, we have alumni working with KPMG, Scotiabank, Sherwin-Williams, and Deloitte. So yeah, Amazon, yeah. So you know it all that we have our alumni working in all these big top 5 companies of the world, and they're doing exceptionally well. And I think when we have such success stories, it helps our current students to aim for that. So when these alumni visit India, we make sure that, even if they're here just for like 2 hours, we really want them to be back on the campus, meet their old staff, faculty, and also mentor and guide our current students. So what have we been doing for the past so many years is that we do, Life in Canada sessions with these alumni who are back on the campus, and they basically share their life journey while they were in India, their life in Canada, and the tips, the rules that the current students should be following so that they don't suffer or they don't do the same mistakes these alumni did. So not only that, if alumni are not coming on the campus, we do another thing called curious conversation. So that happens online on Zoom or Google Meet, where our alumni, they connect with our with our current students one-on-one, and they are guiding them through, mentoring them even for these key projects, including like company program I mentioned about, and they're teaching them, they're telling them, okay, that you really need to participate in this because you'll be benefited with it in the end. So we have a lot of support from the alumni segment.
You mentioned that the alumni often do remote sessions as well with our current students, mentorship sessions. How else does FEI leverage technology and online platforms to enhance the student life experience for our students?
I would more relate it to the COVID times. When everything went online, I think it was a shift in the world where we knew that we cannot be there in person, but yes. Yeah, so during that time, we got exposure to a lot of platforms that would help our students and, keep them engaged. Now, for example, to conduct all these meetings and one-on-one sessions, we got to know about these platforms, Zoom, Google Meet, or Teams. And I think that was a very nice way to connect and see the person sitting on the other side of the screen. So yeah, and not only that, just to keep students engaged, one of the platforms we used to help and keep our student audience engaged was we used to do these small games on a platform called Kahoot. So, it was very interesting because it used to come with a chart in the end and they knew that, okay, who's going to be on the top or who's in the end. So, Kahoot was one such platform. And I think academically, many faculties are using many softwares. It could be, I'm not a pro, but I think I've heard a few these applications like they're using SPSS and Minitab and, all these tools to teach students for statistics and other theoretical subjects. So, I think students when they get admission here, they know that they need to have a laptop, and that's the need of the hour academically and non-academically too. We ask students to prepare all their presentations, all that we demand, including the resume or whatever, on a software called Canva, which is an online free tool link for them. I mean, it takes them about 2 to 3 days to crack how to do it, but it's very easy, very colorful, and I think very professional. So they get a lot of help from there. Not to promote, but I think lately all these tools like AI and Chat GPT have been helping students a lot.
Can you tell us about Excel Scout? Because that's something that I think you personally pushed for in order to help the students, particularly in student company program, right?
Yeah, so we saw a few Indian universities and of course a few universities abroad as well that, the ones who are in engineering or in the tech field, they were getting a lot of exposure to these, industry where people do patent filing or research work. I mean, our students, they do not come from such background. They are not engineering students. They are undergraduate pathway program students who are either learning business or they're learning something in the computer information system field. But they do have ideas in their mind. And when I talk about ideas, it's not only about what they inculcate in company program, but outside of that, most of them, they want to become entrepreneurs. And they have business ideas in their mind that this is what they want to do the moment they graduate. And I think from there we picked up and we heard about this organization called Excel Scout. Again, they have a global presence. Their head office is here and they have a few offices in Canada, US and Europe. So they were offering this tool to students, not only students, but experts as well around the world, where whatever idea you have, you can just put in there and research more about it. If you think your idea is unique and there is something that nobody in the world is doing, you have the right to get it patented. And I think if a student gets any idea patented on his or her name, it's a very big achievement on their profile, on their resume. And we also studied the Canadian market and we took a few feedback from our alumni there. And when we asked them that what if a student has a patent before they take a transfer or while they're a student, so they especially told us that this is a great idea and we've never done this before. So I think why not offer this platform to our students and see if we can pull this off. So right now we are in a process where these students are still researching, they are still finding a way out to see how their idea is unique. But hopefully by the end, fingers crossed, I really want that at least one of the students should have a patent on their name. It will be a very proud moment for the student as well as the university that somebody filed a patent.
Considering all the things that we've discussed today, what advice would you give to incoming students in order to maximize their student life experience? And not only their student life experience, but their overall university experience here at Fraser Valley India.
To all the incoming students, I just want to say that you are not just going to come to a university, you're coming into a professional world where you are going to be exposed academically and non-academically with experts from the industry. Secondly, there'll be n number of opportunities which are not being offered by other universities in India or Canada. I mean, not to flaunt, but kind of programs we are doing or we plan to do, it's going to just make them more confident and going to make their profiles so strong that they won't have to struggle in the real professional world. And I think, these students are at an age that they come with all these fresh minds and they have that zeal and enthusiasm to learn, which if somebody of my age, if you ask, they're like, would you like to learn this now? I would just say straight no. So I think they just need to grab this opportunity and make sure that whatever they're coming into, they need to give in their best, because we are ready here with open arms to give them all the exposure that they need.
What do you think really sets FVI apart in terms of student life and industry engagement, maybe in comparison to other Indian institutions that are offering similar programs to us?
Our infrastructure, our environment, and our one-on-one mentoring with the students is what makes us different. I mean, I'm sure you would also have visited a few campuses in and around India or outside of India. You've seen how students are and, where they actually do sit and, do work study or group study. And you've seen students here. I mean, they feel very comfortable, not only in our office premises, but they know that if they have some place to go, student life is the place. Mm-hmm. Because they get a lot of comfort level from us because, we are playing a dual role here. I mean, even though I'm an employee at FEI and I know I have my boundaries set, I cannot cross that because I'm a professional. But at the same time, I think every student who comes on the campus needs a friend in a senior position, in a senior person. So I think they find that friend who can guide them, at their level. So we've been doing that. We offer that kind of comfort level to them. And the kind of projects or the kind of experiential learning we have planned for them, I think it's so customized. It is so well aligned to the area of interests that they know that they'll be very happy participating in it. And we get to know their interests right in the beginning when they join us. We do many one-on-one sessions with these students. We understand that, okay, what is the thought process or what is the intellect of this incoming cohort? And we know that, okay, this is what they're looking for. So the rest of the year is planned according to that. Otherwise, in other universities, the calendar is preset. There are 10 activities that they will be happening or 5 workshops that they will be happening without knowing that our students interested in that or no. But we plan our calendar only after we meet with the students one-on-one. So I think that is what makes us unique.
You mentioned the importance of being a friend on some level to the students. Why do you think that interpersonal relatability is so important to them and their growth?
When a student is coming here and they are investing, more than half of their day on the campus, they need to somewhere feel that they are at home. And I think we are providing that kind of environment where they feel comfortable and they do not miss their parents, because we have 60% of our students do not belong to Chandigarh. They do come from Punjab, Delhi or South India or any other part of India. So they know that the only place they have to hang out or work with the group of students or talk to is at FEI. And I think we should be really giving them that platform and that environment so that they know that there is less missing and more working happening on the campus.
As the manager of student life and industry engagement at FEI, what are your future plans and goals to continue enhancing the student experience?
We see what is the thought process of the students and what they really want us to do. So I'm just eagerly waiting for the next cohort to see what kind of attitude they are coming in with or what are the kind of things that they want to participate in. And I mentioned in my previous dialogues too that every year I've seen myself growing as an individual. I get to learn something new from these students every time. So I think with the new incoming cohort, I think I'm going to learn a lot. because again, they are part of this new generation. I don't know what's it called, Alpha or Gen Z, or I don't know whatever it's called, because they have a very different mindset as compared to us. So I think there is no point planning at the moment. Let's just wait for them to come, and I'm going to align the student life accordingly.
Saniya, I'd like to not only thank you for your time, but I'd like to also congratulate you on almost a decade with Fraser Valley India.
Thank you.
And also congratulate you for the passion that you have when it comes to your job and interacting with the students, because I think undoubtedly anybody at this institution would have the same feedback for you. We can all see that you love what you do and you really do have a lasting impact on the students. So thank you, and we're looking forward to seeing what comes next.